Hi everyone, we're live here with Amanda Nicole. Amanda is a business and a business mentor, and she's going to be talking to us about social media. How are you, Amanda?
I'm good, thank you. Great to see everyone here, although I can't physically see you. Thanks for being here for those that are here live, and thank you, Tabitha and Sherry, for hosting this series with 1111. And I'm really excited to connect with those that are here live around how to improve their social media game. And fire away with the questions too. We've got some aside as well, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, we're super excited to hear what you've got to say. I've had quite a few messages about this one because it's something that we all struggle with, no matter where we are in business, whether we've been in it for 2 minutes or 5 years or 10 years, we all struggle. So we're really interested. We've got a ton of questions from people who have been asking during the week and also during the lead up, and also tonight we do have some people joining us that want to ask you questions as well. So it's a super exciting night. So
it is exciting.
Yeah.
And like you said, it doesn't matter where you are in your business journey. I know we were talking about this before going live, there's always opportunities for refinement when it comes to social media. So whether you're 2 minutes in, 2 decades, somewhere in between, there's always opportunities to refine and improve based on where you want your business to be.
Yeah, look, I have 2 businesses myself. One's easy to post for, one's not. So it can be a bit hard at times, depending on what kind of business you have, and just keeping fresh with ideas on what to share and what your audience want. So so with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Amanda. And there's a few people online already. I think there's about 6 online, so we're getting there. Let's get get everyone on board. And hello, look, there's a comment.
Hello, Wilma. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this series all about your social media, so your content, questions that you may have when it comes to how to post, what to post, stories to share, all of that, because depending on the type of business that you have, that does influence the kind of social media you post, whether you're in professional services, whether you have a product-based business, whether you're a coach, a mentor, other kinds of products. Your content will vary to other business owners that are here watching this live and or catching it as a replay. So if we're meeting for the first time, hi, I'm Amanda Nicole. I'm a business coach and podcaster, and it's great to connect with you. And for those that I've connected with locally in and around Geelong and or online, it's great to have you here, whether that's live or as with the replay as well. So, very exciting. If you've got questions, just pop them through and they'll appear on the screen, and I'll certainly answer those. So anything that comes up for you, go for it. And I've got some questions on the side here that I'll also come across to as well. Hey, Dale, great to see you. So, your social media, how to improve it. Well, firstly, I just want to say congratulations for having a business. Having a business, doing the things that you love, whatever kind of business that is service provider, product-based, clinical services, whatever kind of business that you have, congratulations to you for following the plans and purposes that you've seen, outlined to you, whether that's through, meditation, prayer, visions, whatever it may be, a dream that you've had. So I really just want to acknowledge everyone here live and in the replay for starting out and for becoming visible on social media. So, someone's asked a question. We'll dive straight in. What are your thoughts about using AI to create content? Thank you for asking. It's a really good question. And I've actually got a bit of a mixed view on that. I'll certainly share my thoughts around that. And from that and the rest of this live, take what you will, what resonates with you. what connects with you. And if there's something where you're like, hey, Amanda, that's not where I'm at, or that I don't agree with that, then that's totally cool as well. So AI, I think in terms of getting started, in terms of brainstorming, in terms of getting ideas out of like your head, or if you're feeling a bit blocked when it comes to writing, I feel like that's where AI is a great place to start. You know, you can certainly get those ideas going if you're wanting to write some posts or content pieces for your business. And depending on the type of business you have, whether it's a physical business, like I've just seen like a animal care or animal welfare or product based, I think AI is incredible for that. It's just getting those ideas out there. So if you're someone that finds that you're getting a bit stuck, it's a great place to start. In terms of writing content, it is very helpful in terms of if you're looking to have a bit of a framework. I went to an AI training or workshop event in Geelong a few weeks ago now, held by Geelong Small Business Network. And I learned a lot about AI because up until that point, I hadn't used it. So I was actually worried that AI would take away my creativity. So if you've been having those feelings, you're not alone. But I learned a lot about AI in terms of the practicalities of it, in terms of coming up with ideas for content, giving yourself some structure, whether you've got a podcast, whether you've got social media in terms of, you know, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. It gives you the preferred layout for each of those platforms. So as a tool, it really is very valuable in that way. Being a creative myself, I generally like to write my content myself, but in terms of content prompts, ideas, headlines, that's a great place to start with AI. And if you're writing reports, then it's going to give you some structure there, but you will need to edit it because it will sound like AI or it won't sound quite like you. So yeah, they're my thoughts around AI. So I hope that helps. If there's anything additional you want to ask or clarify, pop that in the questions. Do people still use tags and are they effective? So tags, I imagine what you may be asking is hashtags. If it's something different, then please let me know. So hashtags, they're great, particularly for Instagram. That's what I've found works really well. You will extend your reach. And when I say reach, if you're hearing that for the first time, that's totally okay. You're going to extend out to more people. Your content's going to be shown to more people. So on Instagram, if you were to put in hashtag content that sells, for example, that's one that I use. People that follow that hashtag, that your post has the potential to come up onto the screen. So depending on how many followers there are or how big that account actually is, it might move quite quickly. If there's a couple of million, then you won't necessarily see all the posts that have that hashtag, but your content is shown out to that audience, that community that sees that particular hashtag. So for Instagram, it's really helpful. Facebook, from what I've seen, but it's, from what I see, it's generally valuable for Instagram and LinkedIn. And someone mentioned that I think Leanne mentioned that she uses hashtags as well, particularly if you're doing reels as well, going back to, say, Facebook, but also Instagram. If you're creating reels, as in a video content piece, whether it's 30 seconds, a minute and a half, or a bit longer, then having the hashtags will extend the reach, will extend your reels in front of more people. On the back of the last question, Dale asks, how do you know where to post it, as in your page, reel, etc.? Yeah, that's a great question. I'll probably come back with a question to that is like, what are your favorite platforms? Like, where do you like hanging out? That's certainly something that I ask my clients and community members, and certainly questions that you would have seen on some of my posts if you happen to have read them around content. But what are your favorite places? If you love hanging out on Facebook and find that the connection and the community is there and it's easy for you to show up, then go there. If it's the same for Instagram or something similar and that works well, go there. If LinkedIn is where your people are, then definitely go there as well. So when it comes to how do you know where to post, also to your personal profile, like let's not underestimate our personal profiles. Even if you have a product-based business, you can be creating content that leads people to your business page or just sharing with people some of the behind the scenes work that you're doing. So when it comes to how do you know where to post, what are your favorite places? Where do you want to be known and seen, but where do you like hanging out? And then you'll know, where to post when it comes to your content. So depending on the kind of business that you have will determine often where you like to post, but also taking into consideration where you like to post. Like you may have, had your feel with Facebook and then go across to Instagram. You're going to find that the community and vibe's quite different. But yeah, where do you like to hang out? And that just makes it easier for you to create content. So I know I spent a bit of time on that question, but where you love to hang out, your favorite places are going to be so much easier for you to write the content, post the content, share the content, than going to the places that you feel you have to go. And how do you cross post? I make a post on my business page, but want to post it into groups I'm in personally. Groups don't allow pages to post. So how do I post from my personal account to my business post? Yeah. So cross-posting, that's a great question. Correct. When it comes to your business page, there's probably not a lot that you can share depending on the kind of group that you're in. Facebook groups into Facebook groups from your business page based on the owner of the group and how they love to run the group, and remembering that it is their group. So their rules are the rules. So when it comes to posting from your business page, you can, if you want that piece of content that you've written, you can literally copy and paste it. So getting on your computer and copy and pasting it. You might want to start up a Google Doc, for example, and just call it cross-posting, call it, content I'm repurposing, content I'm using it in other places, whatever you want to title it, and copy and paste it onto a document. And then from that document, so Google Docs, you can then post it into those Facebook community groups. And you can change the call to action based on the kind of community group you're in. So whether the calls to action is asking a question, whether it's joining your community or listening to a podcast episode, whether it's buying, asking people to schedule in a consultation with you or your course, whatever it may be. But yeah, you can definitely copy and paste across, and that will get it across. So I'm just double checking that I've answered all parts of the question. Cross-posting when it comes from Instagram, if you've got a business account set up with Instagram, you can set it up so that it naturally or automatically cross-posts to your Facebook business page. So that's what I do. My Instagram at Amanda Nicole Mentor, everything just naturally goes across to my Facebook business page. So I realized that Facebook business pages, unless you already have an audience built up, a community already built up, it is a really hard start to begin a business page on Facebook, because Facebook now prioritizes personal profiles, and business pages aren't as easy to build an audience on than, say, they were even 5-8 years ago. So if you started yours in, say, 2015, 2014 and beforehand, you probably got a fair bit of reach and extension of your business page going to more people than if you were just starting it today, or even a few years ago. So when I started mine, which was around 2020, I've got a very small following, but I just keep it going because I know that, people do come across it when I want to run Facebook ads. So maybe that's something you want to do in the future. You've got that set up. I've got some reviews. Maybe you've got some reviews and testimonials that people have already got written on your Facebook business page. So if you've got an Instagram business page, just set it up so that it cross posts straight away. So you don't have to worry about that. It makes it so much easier. You don't have to worry about posting it. So I know that was a deep dive into that question, but I hope that answers your question. What's your top tip for businesses looking to stand out in a crowded social media landscape? Yeah, no, great question. So my top tip is to be you, is to share who you are, why you started your business, what inspired you, share about your own journey and transformation when it comes to your own results. Say you've started a service-based business. I'll use a couple of examples, but if you're a coach, a mentor, then talk about your journey when it comes to the modalities maybe that you work with clients. Speak about what it was like beforehand, what it was like after. If you have a product-based business, what inspired you to begin that business? What keeps you going? What do you love about it? So to stand out in a crowded social media is to actually share who you are and your business and why you're in business, what you love about your business, your clients, your community, that authenticity, because people will resonate with that, people will connect with that. And to stand out too, making sure, this is a sub answer to it. So being yourself in terms of sharing who you are and about your business and why you started and your results, but also too at the back end of that, to stand out as well, have systems set up in place. And when I say systems, keep them simple, and systems such as considering email marketing, for example. And if you're new to my space, you'll be hearing me speak of this for the first time. If you've been around for a while, you'll know that I'm a big advocate of email, because when you have your own email community, email list, you own that. You don't have to worry about things happening to Facebook, things happening to Instagram. So if Messenger goes down on Facebook or Instagram shut for a period of time, you don't have to worry about that. You own your list. So have some systems set up in place, a way that you can collect someone's email in exchange for a free gift. And that will also help you stand out in social media, because you won't have to rely on social media as much as well. People can take that next step with you off social media. Hey, Nathan. So Nathan's asking, how do you battle post fatigue? Yeah, i.e. people getting turned off by too many posts. And that's a really good question. So the first part, how do you battle post fatigue? So in terms of feeling tired, feeling fatigued from posting, some ways to battle it, some ways to simplify it. Maybe for you, Nathan, maybe for someone else that's listening to this, maybe planning your posts in advance is something that will help you battle it. It certainly saves time. It's something that's helped me, whether that's something really low key, like in the notes of your phone, you've got a number of different posts ready to go or ideas, and then you just start bringing that idea from that section in your notes and creating it into a post. You can keep it simple like that. Maybe at the start of each week, whether it's a Sunday or a Monday, you look at your week ahead and you go, okay, I normally post 3 times a week or 5 times a week. What are the ideas that what are the topics I want to post for, and literally pop it into like a spreadsheet, Monday through to Sunday, the type of post. Maybe it's a testimonial one day, maybe it's about your product, maybe it's about your service, maybe it's some other results that you share, or maybe you've done a presentation somewhere, or just sharing more about who you are. But just map it out. Maybe it's a straight sales post where you're literally just selling your product, but map it out over those 3 to 5 days, and you can take it as in depth as you want. You could literally just pop the title, as in I'm going to do a testimonial on that day. And on that day you can write it, or maybe you're like, hey, I actually want to battle this fatigue right out and knock it out of the park. So I'm actually going to prepare my posts beforehand, and maybe over the course of the week you start to write a few posts. So you can really map it out And there's no set way. You can chop and change. I've certainly chopped and changed. I went through a period of time where I had everything scheduled out for like 6 to 8 weeks, which was great, and I loved it. But there is a bit of preparation involved, and that's where I started feeling fatigued from it. And I wasn't creating fresh pieces of content, and I do like to write. So depending on how you like to work, Nathan, and for those listening to this who are battling post-fatigue, work with the ways that work for you, your own levels of creativity, what works well in your time in terms of your family life, other priorities, business, what works well for you when it comes to mapping out your social media. And hopefully I didn't miss anything from that question, but if there's anything else from that one, do let me know. What's the biggest mistake businesses make when using social media for marketing? The biggest mistakes that social media make? That's a good question. Some of the biggest mistakes I see is when people aren't actually sharing what they want to share, when they're not actually talking about the things that they want to talk about when it comes to their product, when it comes to their service, when it comes to the work they do. There's always going to be people that we like, that we possibly aspire to be like, that we follow and we think, wow, I want to be like that, or what they're doing is, exactly what I want to be. But their version of that is their version of that, and your version of that will be your own version of that. So when we're, always looking to what other people are doing and, maybe copying and pasting that, and I've certainly done that in the past, so I'm not, sitting up here saying don't do that, and I've never done it. I certainly have done it earlier on in my journey and a little bit further along as well. But being original in terms of your own content pieces, getting ideas from AI rather than copying what other people are doing. Yes, use it for inspiration, but the best marketing is your marketing. And if you need additional support with that, then reach out to someone when it comes to, if you want to really nail reels, for example, then reaching out to someone that does that kind of work, as in video content, for example. If you really want to nail email marketing, then by all means you can reach out to me, for example, or maybe there's someone else. But definitely seek expert advice. But that's the biggest mistake I see people making when it comes to marketing, is looking what other people are doing and following that to a T without recognizing that person may be 3, 5, 10 years ahead of you, maybe even just a few years. And so what they're doing in business is very different. So in the coaching space, for example, someone with a big audience that has developed that, grown that, they can easily put out an offer or a program at a particular price point, and it sells within minutes. And you see those posts all the time. I dropped a link and I sold an offer for $100 and 200 people signed up. Well, they already had those 200 people warmed up in their audience, but someone just starting out may not even have 200 people. So that's where that guidance can be misleading for someone newer on in their journey, because they're like, well, hey, this big coach Renee, she's doing all these awesome things. I want to do what she's doing. But Renee's been in her journey in her business for much longer. She's already got that community audience engaged, warmed up. So when she puts an offer out there, it gets plenty of traction straight away. Yes, hey Leanne, great idea. Email is so valuable. It is. You own your email, as in you own the list. People have opted in. They've said yes to be on your newsletter. They've said yes to your checklist, to your free training. Maybe it's a meditation, some other form of, checklist, depending on the kind of work that you do. Maybe professional services, and you offer a template, whether it's budgeting, whether it's whatever it may be, depending on the kind of work that you do. In exchange for that free gift, you're receiving their email. They've said yes, and then you can start to write to them as often as you like. And you can, sell to them as well, as in sell your offers or your products. You can have exclusive offers purely for your email list as well, which is a great incentive for people to join your email community. So what's in it for them? They know that they receive exclusive offers, whether it be your products at a different price point, whether it's certain things that you just sell purely to your email community. There's something in it for them. Maybe your newsletters are really juicy in terms of like tips and advice, and you break down technical information really well, for example. Then that's where email is so valuable. And as you grow your email list, it is actually worth $1 value as well. So it has that return on investment. So yeah, email, definitely get onto it if you've been thinking about it. We have a lot of people who comment that they find planning posts overwhelming. Any advice? Yes. Yeah. No, and that it's not uncommon. So firstly, just want to normalize that it's not uncommon to feel overwhelmed when it comes to posts, writing posts. Just the thought of showing up every day. Like, it is a bit overwhelming. You look at someone that's, posting consistently and you think, wow, how the heck do they do it? If we go back from how the heck do they do it, so maybe there's some tools that they have set up that support them. So going back to someone's question earlier around fatigue, you can be fatigued from posting because you're overwhelmed. So if you take one thing away from this session today, mapping out some of your content pieces, popping it into a spreadsheet over a week, 2 weeks, or even a month, and just start, deciding what you want to speak on for each of those days and going about it that way. You're planning your posts, you're saving yourself time. You're going, okay, for this week, I've got these posts. I'm going to have a reel. I'm going to do a live stream, for example. I'm going to have 2 pieces of written content. One's a sales post, purely where I'm selling my item, my service. Another one is a story, about my own experience, my own transformation, why I started my business, for example. And so by planning it out, that will actually help you. Having some content prompts, so that's where AI is really helpful for you in terms of, well, hey, Amanda, I want to write a piece of content about, starting my business, but that heading is so broad. How can I slim that down? So, having some content prompts around is really helpful as well. I'm just looking up to see some that I can just verbally share to give you some. I won't bring it up on the screen as such, but maybe here's some content prompts to help you, particularly with this question. And I'll wrap it up quickly. But how you went from being where you were to where you are. What's a common mistake or misconception that you see in your industry? What's a list of reasons why someone should buy your product, for example? There's some ideas how to create whatever it is that you create. There's just some ideas on, content prompts, your point of view on something, a testimonial where you share a story. So mapping it out in advance helps take the pressure off. So that was a pretty deep dive in. Hope that was helpful for you as well. How do you recommend businesses handle negative feedback or criticism on social media? Yeah, no, really, I said really good question, but it is one of the, I say, byproducts of sharing like who you are and what your views and opinions are on social media. There can be a bit of a backlash. There can be, negative feedback or criticism. I know certainly I've experienced that when I've decided to be bold around some experiences that I had. I'm in the coaching space, and so I was sharing that to help others, particularly, those earlier on in the journey of starting their business. At the time was a spiritual business. So I did receive some, negative feedback with regards to that. And at first I thought, ooh, I was a little bit shunned by it. And I thought, oh, I've upset someone, ruffled some feathers, but I felt really cool to share that. So when it comes to handling negative feedback or criticism, firstly, you will receive it at some point in some way. Often it's a reflection that, that you're saying the things that you meant to say. It's often triggered by someone else's experience. So that's then prompted them to criticize you. But on the flip side, to look at the criticism and the feedback and go, well, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently? So yes, you will still receive it, and you can certainly brush it off, address it, or depending on what it is, you can block and delete the person, but also take a moment just to reflect and ask yourself, well, is there something I can learn from this feedback? This piece of information that was said about me, is there something I can do differently? And see what comes back from your reflection, whether you give it yourself, a few days, or, journal on it, reflect on it. Maybe there's nothing, but maybe there is some refinements that you can make when it comes to the feedback that you receive. So, there's been times when I've, received messages in Facebook groups that I was being spammy. And I think it was purely because I was posting that community group quite often. But all my posts were very transparent around what I was selling, the links, all of that. So I just took it that, someone's seeing me post, and this might be you too, that they're seeing you post a lot. And it's a bit like, oh, it's reminding them that maybe they're not, or that there's things that they could do. And so, I thought, well, maybe there's a refinement, and I did with the way that I wrote the piece of content. I made a change, but otherwise I'm like, I'm going to keep going. And if I didn't keep going, then I wouldn't be here live doing this live stream with you. I wouldn't have been invited to events if I had stopped and stop because of that one piece of feedback. So yeah, see where that fits into your overall vision. Dale asks, if using hashtags are something you'd recommend, can you recommend anywhere to suggest hashtags for content? Yes. So when it comes to hashtags, I'll be quite transparent with you. I actually look to see what hashtags are trending. So if there's people that I follow, I actually look at the hashtags that they've got. I also look at the hashtags that I want to create, as in like I pop in, hashtag networking, for example, networking tips. And so there's some that you can come up with yourself, but you can also look to see what's trending in your industry. So as a coach, I look at what other coaches have in terms of their hashtags, and that helps me. I think there's definitely apps out there where you can do hashtag research. I know there's definitely social media people who do that. I did have someone help me very early on with hashtags. They had an offer going in a community group that I was part of, really great offer, and they did all the research. Some of the hashtags I still use, some I don't. But in terms of using hashtags and recommending anywhere to suggest for those, make sure I've answered that. If you're using hashtags, can you recommend anywhere to suggest for content? Yeah, so Instagram, LinkedIn definitely still does. Facebook from time to time. Anything that you've brought across from Instagram to Facebook and you've got hashtags, they'll come across. On your personal profile, probably not. Your business page, maybe. So hopefully that answers that for hashtags. Hey, Chris. Yep, I sometimes do a post but don't want it posted at that exact time, so I schedule it at another time. Perfect, yeah. That's great. Like you're putting the post out there and then you're scheduling it to go at a certain time. And that's same with email too. So what Chris has shared too, when you set up your email, for example, you can put the email in now, but you schedule it to go out first thing in the morning because you actually want it to go out then. So that's a great way to help reduce the fatigue and the overwhelm that people had expressed in the questions here. Is scheduling in advance, exactly, using tools. And I didn't touch on that. So thank you, Chris. Yeah, you can definitely use tools There's different kinds of tools. There's Recur Post, there's Planoly, there's some through Meta as well, through actually Facebook itself. So yeah, great way to save yourself time, reduce overwhelm and fatigue. Oh, thanks, Tabitha. Do you have any tips on launching a product on social media, particularly to an existing audience? Yeah, so launching a product on social media, particularly to an existing audience, yeah, with your existing audience, you can start to let them know that something is coming. That's sort of warming them up a bit rather than just, dropping it on them. If you've already got an existing audience, you can start to, I say, tease it out, but you can start to share little snippets like, hey, there's this project that I'm working on. Maybe you do a reel or a story where, you're at your desk or you're near the product. If it's a product, it might be near where the product's being made or developed, but you can start to share behind the scenes of that product being developed, of how the idea, came to you, depending on the kind of product that it is. Maybe you do want to gather in exchange for your new product some emails. So maybe you might want to do a post that says, hey, I'm developing this new, I'm not sure what kind of product it is and you don't have to share, but there's this new exciting project that I'm developing. I'll be sharing some of the behind the scenes as we go along. But if you want to be the first person to know about it or the first group of people that know about it, join the wait list and you'll be the first to know. So it gives them the incentive to join. That's the incentive for your people, for your existing audience. And in exchange, you're receiving an email, and it can be a simple opt-in page of like, join my waitlist. So anyone new to opt-in pages, it's where you pop in your name and email, and you possibly already have filled one of those in yourself for someone where you join a waitlist, and in exchange you're receiving their email, and then you let them know via email. So if that works well for your business, Tabitha, then you could consider that as a way to launch it. And setting out a period of time, like how long do you want to launch it? Over the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then, going from there. So that's definitely a way. Dale, I think it's also important to remember that someone's criticism is often a reflection of their experience rather than you. Perhaps to not personalize it could be helpful for both you and them. Yes, thank you, Dale. I love your articulation of that. How you've said it, it just articulates it beautifully. It's often someone's criticism. And if we think of like when we've been critical of someone as well or provided criticism as such, it's often a reflection of our own experience. Maybe it's an inadequacy that we have, or an area of self-consciousness, or an area that we know we could improve on. So it's actually more of a reflection of the person rather than you as the business owner sharing that particular content piece, that particular viewpoint. So as Dale says, perhaps not to personalize it, but just recognizing that it could be helpful for both you and them. So taking that moment to reflect to see what you could learn from it, but not to take it personally, because it's often coming off the shards, as in like glass shards. That's all that word. I tend to see words prophetically, but it's off the shards of someone else. That's a reminder for each of us. Leanne, hey Leanne, absolutely good on you for doing what you do. Can't please everyone. This is so good. Leanne makes a great point. Can't please everyone. You cannot please everyone. And let me remind you, and it was a reminder I needed to and still need at times. You can't please everyone, but you're not here for everyone. You're not here to serve everyone. Your product, your coaching is not for everyone. You know exactly who you want to work with, the kinds of clients, the kind of customers that you want to work with. And that's not everyone. And that's okay. Like, you're not here to serve everyone. There's going to be some other product provider, service provider that happily is for that person at that particular stage of the product, of the kind of modality or, healing journey that they're on, or the branding that they do. There's someone that loves helping someone at that point. Leave it with them. Like, you're not here for everyone, because like Leanne said, like, you're not here for everyone. And when you start catering for everyone, you're starting to dilute who you really are. You're trying to pander to everyone, when it's like, hey, these are the kinds of people, the kind of customers, the clients that I'm here to work with, that I want to work with. I'm going to focus on them. It's not to say that maybe there's not some smaller products that maybe you have, particularly for digital online. There might be some low ticket offers that you have, or a smaller product that services a person at a particular stage, but you're not here for everyone. So don't feel that you have to be, because there'll be someone else that's here to serve them. And that can be, that's like an onion. That particularly, you're not here for everyone. You're peeling back the layers. It's an ongoing reminder to yourself. Sherry, how far is too far when it comes to breaking down content? Oh, I love this question. I love it. I am all here for breaking down content. I'm all here for, I call it repurposing content. Oh, this is like music to my ears. I actually don't think there's too far that you can go. So if you're new to this and wondering, well, hey, how do I break it down? Or what's Amanda talking about with repurposing content? Say you've we'll use a written piece of document first. Maybe you've written out your the way that you started your business, what inspired you, and you've typed it up, and you're like, that was awesome. And you do a word count, and you're like, 3,000 words. That's too big for Instagram. Look, it could be lengthy for Facebook. Well, that's where you still keep that original piece, and then you just start breaking it down for the platforms that you're on. So if you're on Instagram, this is where I learned to shorten my content. I'm like, I want my content to go onto Instagram, so I started taking chunks out of that, and you edit as you go. So with your content, you can break it down into smaller pieces. Maybe when you read through it, you realize, that's a lot of info. Maybe this could be broken down into 3 pieces. That's 3 pieces of content. Maybe you've done a live stream. This is another example. And if you do live streams or recorded content, if you have the chance to, but you may not, but maybe there's times where you can go back and listen, or maybe you run a transcript of your live stream or recording, and a transcript's really helpful. But if you go back and listen, I certainly do that a lot. You're like, what I said in the moment, that's really good, that particular quote. You can use that as your own quote card. So rather than having someone else's quote card, and I'm all for famous quotes, there's going to be expressions that you have, nuances, things that you say in the moment that you can then use as your own quote. So if you print off the transcript from the live stream, or maybe you've got a podcast, you're listening to this, content can be repurposed from this. Each of these questions that I've answered potentially can be their own content piece with 11111 for ones, 1111, like it literally can for each of the answers. So it can be the same for you with your podcast transcript. Go through it and go, oh yeah, that was great. I'm going to put that on Instagram, or that quote that I said, awesome. I'm going to create a tile or a Canva graphic, and that's going to be my quote. Or I'm just going to put it straight onto Facebook as a postcard, as in you just type it straight in without putting a Canva graphic in. So I'm all for content breaking down, repurposing content on your different platforms in different ways, such as your own quotes, your own mantras. Maybe you're into journaling. And what do you find in your journaling? Maybe there's content ideas there, things that you've journaled on that you're open to sharing aspects. That's content. It's also going to give you ideas for courses as well. So when it comes to how far is too far, I don't believe there is too far with content. That's actually how you see a lot of really successful people do it. And I know Gary Vee talks about it as well, but they've got content in different places. That's actually the how of getting your content in different places and in different ways. is through repurposing, is through breaking it down, putting little quote cards, putting some on Instagram, and you can set that up in your Google Docs. You can have your quotes as one Google document, transfer those across your shorter stories, or just breaking it up into smaller pieces of content with a title. So you can start to, use your Google Docs, for example, in that way, and that's going to help with the fatigue. So for those that are experiencing fatigue, this is a great question. That's why I said I loved it so much, is because it's going to help you with fatigue. It's what changed the game for me, repurposing content. And sometimes you don't actually know what to write, and you go back to, 2 days ago, a week ago, and you're like, read a piece of content, you're like, oh yeah, I want to expand on that, or you just use it from a few months ago. Not everyone will see all your pieces of content, and those that do, which is awesome, but that's usually a very small percentage. So definitely go for it. There's not too far to go. The only way of going too far is by not doing it. That's what I say. What are your top tips for businesses aiming to increase their social media engagement? Yeah, good question. Social media engagement. It often is, social media engagement is often like twofold. You can have a lot of engagement on a post, and it might look amazing to everyone else, but you're not receiving any inquiries for your services, any inquiries for your product. So while to the outside world, and I've seen this happen many times with clients, community members, and people I've been in communities with, they get a ton of engagement. And you're like, wow, such and such is rocking it. But the flip side is no one's inquiring about their services, no one's booking in. So it can be misleading. Often too, when there's a lot of engagement, the people that are leaving all the comments, whilst their support is valid and appreciated and acknowledged, are they actually buying? Like, think about yourself. Like, you may not engage in a lot of people who you follow and buy from in terms of their posts, but you do buy from them. So social media engagement it's that dual effect of, some of my best performing posts, I haven't had much engagement, but I've had people sign up or reach out, or I've had a ton of engagement. It's been really polarizing content, expressing a view and opinion, but, people stop, buying, for example. This was a while ago. So social media engagement, when it comes to likes, yes, it's really helpful and it's great to support a fellow business person, but I'd be looking at, is it social media engagement? Is it leading to people booking in for a consultation? Is it leading to an inquiry? Is it leading to someone buying the product or the course or the program that you have? Start looking at those metrics. Look at the posts that you have that have got a ton of engagement and go, awesome, like, love it. What happened from there? Had people signed up for my newsletter? Did I get any inquiries? What was the kinds of comments that I received and feedback? Maybe there's pieces of content you can create from that, but look at, what comes from that as well. But in terms of social media engagement, going back to the question around hashtags, if you're on Instagram, it's going to get your posts, your reels in front of more people as well. More new eyes, fresh eyes into your world. So reels are great for reaching a lot of people, but you might not get a lot of engagement. Is it important to have an image with every business post? Image, it depends. With image, like Canva graphic, I would say no. Maybe you want to have a photo. I understand there's changes coming to Facebook, particularly in Facebook groups, so not so much relevant to this particular post, but know that, there are changes coming to Facebook when it comes to posting in Facebook groups with regards to graphics as well. But An image, having a photo of yourself, a photo of your product, or a Canva piece. Maybe it's an audio piece. It is helpful, but also to boost the algorithm as well as such, without that being your main focus. And I'll get to that in a moment. Is those postcard posts. When you get on your business page, you can just type it in, and then it has the color of the on the post. That's a way that you could do it as well. So yeah, well, we've really been cracking along here.
Hi, Amanda. This has been great. It's been awesome. I actually commented just before, and I'd love you to tell everybody what your podcast is, because I think it's fantastic. And if people want to keep listening to your advice and your tips, I think that would be a great place to start.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so if you want to continue the conversation, then you can certainly download my podcast. It's called Voice of Soul with Amanda Nicole, and it's available on Apple and it's available on Spotify as well. So there's plenty of business episodes there, and or if you're brand new to starting your business, there's a great episode there around the steps to starting your business. So head on over to there. There's plenty of gold in those podcast episodes, lots of detail if you like the how.
Great. Well, I'm going to say it. The one thing that I learned tonight, the biggest thing, I learned a lot, but the biggest thing I learned is that we probably shouldn't be focusing our whole business on social media. Email marketing is really important. What do you say about that?
Yes, I think, you raise a great reflection point. Correct. Like, we shouldn't be focusing. It's easy to focus our business all on social media because that's how we live our life. We're very much connected to social media. I know there's many that aren't, but it's easy to get caught up on that. But that next step from your social media of where are you leading your people from, leading them into your email community with your free gift, which you then own, or maybe it's a consultation, and networking and doing live streams, that all feeds into your business ecosystem as well. But email marketing, if there's one thing people take away, email marketing and planning your content, if that helps save time, email marketing. Yes.
Yeah, I plan my content on Sundays. That's just the day that I do it. It's not because it should be a day of rest, but it's not. It's the day that I plan out for both our businesses. But I think we've gotten so much information tonight. I think it's going to be one of those episodes where you play it for a bit, pause it, take it in, write some notes, and then continue. It's awesome. Thank you for doing this, and we really appreciate it. What's next week? Do you know what's on next week, Amanda? Have you checked that out?
Next week with 11:11, or next week in live?
Next week on live. Oh, geez. I don't even know what's happening this week.
I was going to say, is it Deb? Is Deb presenting next week?
No, she's in a couple of weeks. We have Leanne Michelle, relationship and sex coach Leanne Michelle, who's going to do the pleasure agenda. Now, the pleasure agenda, that's the title, and it's all about how to still stay connected with your loved ones or your partner, and still, be engaged in your business. So that getting that balance right. So it'll be an interesting one, and it'll be a fun one. So I hope that everyone can join us next week for that. Is there any extra last questions? Let's have a look just to make sure we're not missing anything. I'm sure Deb asked a question. We'll just quickly answer those.
Well, that's probably why I thought Deb, because I'm sure I've seen her name. Yeah. What is the best way to keep up with all the changes to the algorithms, etc., on social media? Deb, you may not like my answer, but I'll say my answer first, and then I'll, share some other things briefly. But I don't worry about the algorithm. I used to, but then I became attached to it. Then I was writing content just for the algorithm, not the content that was for my people or the things I really wanted to say. So while it's good to keep up to date with some of the changes, whether there's someone that you follow on social media that shares them, that's usually how I find out about the changes. A couple of social media people that I follow, I get updates that way because they're sharing them with everyone. That's how I found out about the Facebook groups. Someone that I follow, Jamie Lee, mentioned it in her community. But yeah, that's what I found. And when I focus too much on the algorithm, I lose my groove. Yeah, and I've known of many people that experience that when it comes to the algorithm. Yes, you want to optimize it. You want to use, postcards to boost your you being in front of people. Posting regularly does actually help, even if, some people might find that too much, but they can always unfollow. So yeah, follow some people or look it up. But yeah, I don't spend a lot of time on the algorithm because we've done our dash. But I appreciate the algorithm though for showing my work to people to help them.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Well, here we are. Thank you so much, Amanda. Lots of information to process. Jason's also said, really appreciate your time tonight. So's Dale, so's Leanne. Everyone's really happy with everything that you shared. So thank you for putting this time in. We very much appreciate it. Oh, we've got another one. Oh, hang on. It's flicked off. It was Leanne Michelle. She said, I've just set up a mailing list for my book launch later in the year. Thanks for the prompt. I'm excited for Leanne's book.
Yes.
That's going to be a good one. So we'll be talking about that in a future episode, actually. We're going to be talking to Leanne. Dale. Thanks heaps, Amanda. I've taken heaps from this. Look forward to Leanne next week. Yeah.
Oh, you're so welcome, everyone. And yeah, like Tabitha said, there's plenty of takeaways. You may come back to this recording again and again, and that's totally cool. Like, if it helps you with your content creation and social media, by all means, use it as a resource.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep coming back. All right, well, let's wrap it up tonight. Thank you very much, everyone that joined in. Come and join us next week, 8 p.m. next Tuesday. And thank you, Amanda. A great podcast. Yeah, I reflect that too. Deb, everything. It's been awesome. Awesome night.
You're welcome.
All right, no worries. Okay, see you later, everyone.